Motherhood. 1 minute, you're mom of the year.
I love you, Mommy.
Then the next, not so much. From bath time to bullying, from potty training to puberty, parenting is full of challenges. But one thing is for certain, you are not alone. Welcome to Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, author, mother, parenting expert, Tara Clark. Join me while we tackle today's modern mom problems. If there's one thing that you know about me is that I am absolutely obsessed with the brand Cozy Earth. I wear their joggers during the day, almost every single day. And then at night, I sleep in their matching pajamas. I always wear the full pants with the long sleeve. It makes me feel very fancy and it keeps me cool at night. I sleep on Cozy Earth sheets with a Cozy Earth duvet cover. Like if there was a person that was a walking billboard for Cozy Earth, it would be me. It's actually a running joke between me and my husband because it's literally the only brand, not only that I wear during the day, but I wear at night and I sleep in at night. And the reason why is not only because it feels luxurious, but because it keeps me cool at night when I sleep. Because sometimes, ladies of a certain age may happen to be prone to night sweats. But the sheets are so soft and they're so snuggly that I get a great night's sleep every night between my sheets and the duvet cover, and it wraps me up and I just feel like I'm in this absolute beautiful cocoon of just cuddliness and perfect sleep. It's so soft. It feels so luxurious. I can't even begin to tell you how much I enjoy the Cozy Earth products. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because right now, Cozy Earth is running a special deal that if you use my code MMP, you can get 40% off their best-selling sheets, pajamas, and more. Trust me, you will not regret it. I am the walking billboard for Cozy Earth. And if I could impart one thing for you, you could afford it and you're worth it. Use my code MMP for 40% off. Welcome back to Modern Mom Probs, where we try to solve the world's modern mom problems. And if we can't do that, hey, at least we have fun talking about them. I'm your host, Tara Clark, and today we have a truly epic guest joining us. You may know him as serial entrepreneur, marketing visionary, and 5-time New York Times bestselling author, Gary Vaynerchuk, or as most people call him, GaryVee. He's the chairman of VaynerX, the CEO of VaynerMedia, and one of the most influential voices in business, brand building, and personal growth. Whether he's motivating millions with his no-nonsense advice or disrupting industries with his next big idea, GaryVee always keeps it real. Today, we're talking about his latest venture, VeeFriends. VeeFriends is more than just a collectible project. It's about building a community around kindness, ambition, and self-awareness through characters that represent meaningful traits that we all can learn from. Gary also is going to drop some of his very best parenting advice and absolute parenting gems. So grab your coffee, put in your AirPods, and let's jump into this inspiring and unfiltered conversation with GaryVee. GaryVee, welcome to the show. I am so pumped to have you here today. I cannot begin to explain how excited I am to see you. I was excited to see you courtside the other day. I'm pointing to my Knicks hat here because I was like, GaryVee's courtside, GaryVee's courtside. So you and I share a love of sports and a love of the Knicks and the Jets. Although I do have to say, Gary, that I was raised as a Giants fan, but that's okay.
I'm happy for you. You had a lot of prosperity.
We've been in a rebuilding time for the last about 15 years now.
We've been in a rebuilding time of my whole life. So I've watched your beloved Giants go to 4 Super Bowls, 5 maybe even. Yes, I've seen the Giants go to 5 Super Bowls and win 4 of them with my own eyes. So I'm incredibly envious of Giant fans.
That's okay. The Jets, their time is coming. Their time's coming.
Please God.
God willing. So today I want to talk about VeeFriends, which is, it's so cute. And I really love it. You, Gary, are always on the forefront of emerging technology, different ideas. What inspired you to create VeeFriends? And what's your ultimate goal for this brand?
What inspired me to do VeeFriends is a very interesting blend of selfish and selfless energy. Meaning, VeeFriends is my intellectual property. It is my Disney, Marvel, Pokemon, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright.
You're naming all my things. You and I are nearly the same age. I'm 45, so you're hitting all the things that I grew up with.
Right. So, I've always been fascinated by power, even when I was older, Power Rangers or Pokemon, and even old G stuff like Popeye or the Jetsons or Raggedy Ann. Or I guess in hindsight, I've always been drawn to intellectual property. So, I think there was a point during COVID where I had the ability to be creative. And I was also at a point where the GaryVee brand had gotten pretty big. But I was also incredibly self-aware that I was not going to be the vessel of good and truth and optimism and hope for everyone on earth. My potty mouth, my aggressiveness, my jersey of it all. Yeah. And then very frank, me being a white male in the US, me in my mid 40s at the time, now I turned 50 this year.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I don't know, I'm shockingly cool and relevant at 49, but there's going to be a day where the average 17 or 19-year-old is not going to be like GaryVee is cool. And so I said to myself, what if I created a universe of characters that embody all the incredible things that my mom instilled in me and what life taught me? And what if I made Patient Panda and Accountable Ant and Decisive Duck and Fearless Fairy and Ambitious Angel, and then some bad guys like Cynical Cat and Bad Intentions? What if I made a whole universe, a Smurf, a Marvel, a DC universe? And what if I made trading cards? And what if I made comic books? And what if I made cartoons and cereal and pajamas and stuffed animals? Wait a minute, I can expand globally. Africa, Southeast Asia, Brazil, where they speak Portuguese. I am Walt Disney. I am Jim Henson. I can be that guy. And I decided to go for it.
And you did it, because if there's one thing that GaryVee does is he goes for it.
I did it in what I would encourage everyone here to do, which is if you have a dream, if something's gnawing at you, if you're hungry, if I suppressed it, Tara, if I was like, you know what, I've got a 2,000 person, $350 million agency called VaynerMedia. Mm-hmm. I have Vayner Sports. I have VaynerWatt. I have this restaurant group. I have the wine business. By the way, everybody, winetext.com. Sign up. My dad would be very happy. It's the best way to buy wine on the internet. Yeah. If I said I've got all these things plus my personal life and family and my interests, and I want to go to a Knicks game, if I talked myself out of VeeFriends 4 years ago, I know at 90 that I would regret it. Mm. And so I try to live life to mitigate regret. And there's going to be a lot of things that I regret when I'm an older man, because that's how life works.
Sure.
But those will be things that I can't see right now. If I can see it, then I will address it.
And you're going to grab it.
And I'm going to grab it, and I'm not scared to lose in front of all of you.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Why? How is that?
Because I know that you stink at things too.
Yeah. Can I tell you a really funny story really quick? Because I don't want to take time up with this. I was blow drying my hair right before this call, and I set off my freaking fire alarm. And then guess what happened? The cops in the fire department came to my house 45 minutes ago. And all I kept thinking was get out of my house. I was super, super grateful that they did. Thank God to the guys that did that. But at the same time, I was of course, of all days, this had to happen. I am talking to GaryVee.
I do not put people on a pedestal, including myself. The reason I'm not scared is because I'm humble. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm not entitled. I don't think I'm owed anything. I'm just living and I'm playing. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose, but I'm not scared to play. And when I watch little kids scared to play, I know they're insecure.
Yeah.
And I'm not insecure. And that's not because, and I'm not, by the way, when I say I'm not insecure, I don't think I'm cool. I think my mom's cool because she built me that way.
I want to talk about that, Gary, because obviously I'm a mom. My whole brand is about mom stuff.
Yep.
You speak with your parents with such reverence and such love. They clearly did something so right. So my question to you is, what was it? What did they instill in little baby Gary for you to grow up to be how you are? Like, what did they do right?
So my childhood's broken up into 2 chapters. The first chapter is, 3 chapters. The first chapter is 0 to 4, which was, I was born in the Soviet Union. And so we were, by American standards, we were hyper poor, not poor, hyper poor. Let me give you context here. I was born in 1975. Mm-hmm. We didn't have diapers in Russia in 1975. I lived my first 3 years of my life peeing and pooping my tights, and my mom would have to go back and wash them. We did not have diapers. Like, I do not, and then we moved to America, and I lived in a studio apartment with my grandmother and my great grandmother and grandfather, and occasionally an uncle because we were all immigrating over. And so first, even outside of my parents, my circumstances formed me, right? My environment. Mm-hmm. Then there's the chapter of mom, 0 to now, but call it 0 to 15, which was unconditional love with 0 coddling and entitlement. Full accountability, full merit, full consequences, full ramifications if I step out of line, but unbelievable reinforcement of love, and you can do it, and you're great until you're not great, and now you're grounded, and now you'll get a smack in the face, and now you will be told that I don't fucking accept that bullshit. That's where parents and moms in this generation lost their way. We went all the way into you can do anything, and then the kid sucks at soccer, and you're like either reinforcing delusion and be like, you're going to be great, or saying the scariest thing a mom or dad can say, it doesn't matter. Got it? Mm-hmm. My mom didn't do those things. Mm-hmm. She kept me, and then she also championed not good grades because I didn't get them. She actually grounded me all the time. She championed my civility, my empathy, my compassion, my kindness. When I was nice to friends, when I was nice to grownups, when I said thank you and please and had manners, she made a huge deal about that. Mm-hmm. And then there was the chapter of 14 to 18, me working every weekend, every summer vacation at my father's liquor store, really getting grounded in hard work and grit. And the other thing my dad really did for me, at 14, I had such gift of gab, and I was such a salesman that I would be willing to compromise to sell something. I would make up something. I would do, whatever it would be. And my dad really hates lying. In fact, my father thinks a slight embellishment is like a catastrophic lie.
Oh, interesting.
And he was the right man at the right time for me because I was so scared of my dad because of his Soviet father life that I started to systematically in my teenage years become more honest and fib less and bullshit less. And so now the GaryVee that exists has all the magic, but has the principles of the old school. And it was incredibly impactful of who I am. So that's what they did.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is amazing. My other question then is a follow-up question. So now that you're a parent yourself, how do you raise kids who, for what it's worth, they have everything, right? Correct. Like everything.
I sit last row at my first basketball game. My son sits courtside at playoff Knick games. Yes. How do you raise them? My kids do not have my circumstances.
Right.
They are not poor. They are not as hungry because they are actually fed, mm-hmm. right? I don't even have the delusion that so many of your listeners have to make my kids as hungry and as tenacious as I am. It's not in the cards.
Yeah.
What I have interest in is them being good human beings, having civility, having accountability, believing in winning and losing, knowing what consequences mean, just being good people. But most of all, I'm trying to guide them to the one thing that has driven me in my life, which is I want them to like what they do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if they're a stay-at-home dad. I don't care if they're a nonprofit project manager. I don't care if they're painting with apples on canvas in Ibiza. As long as they stay on their own 2 feet and don't do these things based on mommy and daddy paying for their life,
Yeah.
well, then they will be capable, respectful people, and they will be most of all happy if they go towards their guiding light. I didn't, you know this, we grew up in the same era. Entrepreneurship wasn't a thing.
No.
Businessman was not cool. I was told that I was a loser my whole life because I got D's and F's, but I couldn't help it. I just wanted to sell stuff and do business.
Yeah.
I did not know that that would put me in a financially stable place. I would do everything I'm doing today if I made $35,000 a year, and I would live within the means of $28,000 a year so I could save a couple bucks.
Yeah.
I don't do this for the money.
Yeah.
I do this because it's in my soul.
It's in your DNA. It's like literally who you are.
I'm as true blue, true blood, pure, 100% pure entrepreneur as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this to be true because I grew up in the era of grades over everything. And I said, fuck you, grades. I'm selling bubblegum and baseball cards and lemonade and washing cars and shoveling snow instead of sledding and snowball fighting or playing basketball or doing slip and slide or paying attention in class. I could not and did not and couldn't, from the age of 8 or 9, get away from who I actually was.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. You and I have a lot of similarities because my family grew up in the restaurant business. So my uncles were entrepreneurs because they were restaurant owners, and my mom worked for them, and she worked 120 hours a week for probably 30 years. You know, like she just grinded and they grinded. So I too have a little blip of that, not nearly to the extent that my uncles do, and particularly my Uncle Dean. So I'm going to give him a shout out now because he's an entrepreneur, owns 10 restaurants. Now he's selling those off to buy commercial real estate. He was hustling just like you from a very young age. He was painting houses. He was just doing anything he could in a very similar way. And I think that some people are just born with it. You know, some people just have it.
By the way, why do people understand that Olympians or actresses or musicians are born with it and not entrepreneurs? Of course we're born with it. Like when I think about my career, I think of myself as an Olympian.
Yes, you are. They're unequivocally 100% yes.
In the same way that a 6-year-old is on a balance beam 30 hours a week, if she's destined to be an Olympian gold medalist, I spent every minute of my childhood being a businessman.
Yeah.
By the time I was 20, you know, people who really know my career know like from 22 to 27, I like exploded my father's business.
You were selling the shit out of some wine.
Yes. People are like, that's crazy. I'm like, not really. I was a veteran. I was skilled. I was fucking knowledgeable. I'd worked in that store for 8 years before I took it over at 22 at hours that rival how grownups actually work. And I was doing school more than half the year. So like, you know, it wasn't crazy to me in hindsight. I did the training.
Yeah. You put in the time. You literally did.
When that Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing came out, I mean, the amount of people that pinged me that grew up with me, like in the business world or even like my classmates, they're like, fuck, this is you. You were 10,000 hours by the time we got to high school, let alone in your lifetime.
That's wild. That's wild. But it is true. You have to put in the time. There are no two ways about it. People ask me like, oh, how did you do social media? How do you do this? Like, be consistent. You show up every day. You're consistent. You have a vision and you're just going to like work into that.
And then the question becomes, how do you become consistent? And that goes into a lot of what I talk about. You have to be resilient. You have to be patient. You have to be humble. You know, like when people see me online, they see such an aggressive communicator, right? That's what I am. And I'm empathetic that people might be like, oh, he's overconfident or he's this or that. And what's crazy is as you get closer to me, like Braden's filming me right now. Braden knew my content before he worked here. You've been here, what, 2-3 years now? 2 years. I promise you, we have not had this talk. I promise you the thing that definitely most was notable to Braden when he first got in, besides, thank God he is who he is. Like, it's not like one of those things like don't meet your heroes. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
The next thing was, fuck, this dude works.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I thought he worked, like, it's even more because I work every minute, right? And like, no, like, I don't eat lunch. I don't like it's right. And then third, it's like, as it probably progressed for him, he's like, damn, Gary's weirdly humble, right? It's the humility that got me here. I truly believe that Humbled Hedgehog, which is one of the VeeFriends, is secretly like deep down one of my favorites, if not like my favorite, because I think humility for the confident and the convicted and the passionate and the hungry is the missing component for most.
Yeah.
Most people that I've met in my life that are like me got to the top from insecurity.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
I'm going to prove it to my mom. I'm going to prove it to my dad. I'm going to prove it to the girls that didn't like me in high school. They're driven almost like Darth Vader, where I'm like more Obi-Wan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good analogy.
Like I got to the top out of humility and confidence. And when I see it in others, and by the way, there are many like me. I'm not fucking some enigma. There are millions like me.
I don't know if I'd say millions, Gar, but okay, fine.
But I will say there are millions who've gotten to, yes, I'm a unique kind of like weird kind of character, but there are millions of people who have achieved financial success for damn sure. Maybe not notoriety, maybe not social impact, but financial success. Mm-hmm. So I want to make this narrow through confidence and humility. But there are more people that have gotten to short-term financial success from insecurity and ego. The problem for those people is when they get to the top, it's harder for them to sustain.
Yeah.
And when they get to the top, they tend to be lonely because people don't like them.
That's true. Because then you're sitting in your gorgeous mansion by yourself because no one wants to be with you. No one wants to hang out.
The dirty little secret is that money and fame and power don't change you. They expose you.
Ooh, that's a good one. That one I'm gonna take notes on. I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you two questions. I took the quiz on the VeeFriends website. Which VeeFriend are you? I took it twice because I had certain answers that I want to answer, and then I sort of had like my A tier answers and my B tier answers. Yeah. So
yes, it's VeeFriends, VeeFriends.com/quiz. Please go take the quiz.
Take the quiz.
Because by the way, VeeFriends, VeeFriends.com/cartoons. If you're a mom that has a 4 to 10-year-old and you grew up like us, like T and I, we used to have cartoons that were teaching kids good lessons.
All the time.
And He-Man would end with, G.I. Joe would end with, hey kids, I produced 20 cartoons done by the people that made Coco Melon. Mm-hmm. And they're on YouTube Kids, and I think you'll be blown away by the cartoons, so check them out. But anyway.
100%. Yes, that was an excellent plug. So I got Gritty Ghost. Ooh. And Creative Crab. So first I got Gritty Ghost, and then when I went back and took it, it was Creative Crab.
Your uncle's going to be pumped that you got Gritty Ghost, right? And Creative Crab makes so much sense based on your career and like what you're doing here in this, and even what we're doing right now is inherently creative.
Yeah, it is. So my question to you, Gary, is: did you take the quiz? What'd you get?
I've not taken the quiz. I'll tell you why. There's a second version of the quiz that's going to come out that you could end up being all 250 characters instead of the 100 in the first quiz. So I've been waiting because I've known that, because obviously I'm the creator. So that'll be early, and I will then take the quiz. But look, I think it'll be very interesting what I end up with, because in a lot of ways, just like your own children, these 250 characters are my children.
Yeah.
Like I am the patient panda. I am the fearless fairy. I'm definitely the ambitious angel.
And the humble hedgehog.
And the humble hedgehog. I'm also the adaptable alien. And I, at times, am the shrewd shark. And I'm definitely the alert ape. And, I'm the focused falcon when I like it. And I'm the unfocused falcon when I don't like it. And so, I think this is going to be my legacy. I'm going to really build this world. And when I said selfish, selflessly, I wanted to create a world that will help parents in perpetuity. Selfishly, I'm going to build $1 billion franchise on this, and your grandchildren, Tara, will go to a VeeFriends amusement park.
I hope so. I will bring them. I'll get the tickets and we'll go.
So I'm looking forward to that in my life.
We're going to do it. I'm going to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests, whether you're Gary Vee or you're just a regular mom off the street.
I'm a regular mom off the street.
Although I don't normally have regular moms off the street on the show, but let's just imagine if you will. What do you think is the biggest modern mom problem out there right now?
Over-coddling. Mothers and fathers in this generation of parenting are over-coddling and not creating ramifications and consequences to their child's bad behaviors. They are fighting the kids' fights for them. They're literally going to school and fighting teachers instead of thanking teachers. They are, this one breaks my heart. We have moms listening right now who have 18-year-olds, even more worrisome, 22 and older year olds, that they're still giving them money.
Yeah.
So moms, a lot of you may not know me. Let me tell you something about me. I have 55 million social media followers. I get over 10,000 DMs a day from kids between 13 and 25.
Wow.
Let me give you the dirty little secret. If you are paying for your child's life after they are 22, what you're doing deep down in their psychology is you are telling them that you think they're losers. That you, Susan, at 26, you, Brandon, at 29, you, Shaniqua, at 30, you, Gertrude, at 34, are so not capable of standing on your own 2 feet. Me, mommy, and daddy are going to give you money. You are reinforcing deep insecurity. And here's the devastating one. These kids are taking your money and building resentment towards you.
That's the tea. That's it right there, Gary.
Tara, that is it. It hurts. Nobody wants to do it. But the problem is, I challenge the parents here who are listening on a very important question. Do you pay for your kids after they're in their 20s because you love them, because you can? Or is it because you don't want them to be perceived as losing and you worry about what other parents and your siblings and your parents think about your child? Do you parent your child based on them, or do you parent them based on what other people's opinions of them mean to you? I would argue that too many parents are insecure and not willing to fight for their kids' true essence, and they want to conform to societal norms in grades, in athletics, and that's too bad that we have a generation of parents that are not confident enough to push back. My mother got enormous amount of judgment by her inner circle and her acquaintances because all those other Russian immigrants were getting straight A's and were on their way to NYU and Harvard and Yale and Cal and on. 40 years later, her son is more professionally, but more importantly, emotionally successful than every kid of that circle because she was willing to parent me based on me, not on trying to look good in front of them.
Yep. That's my biggest thing is I parent my son for who he is, not worrying about anyone else. And I think that's the biggest takeaway right there.
And your son, if you stay consistent on that and do all the other things right, will one day spend his life giving you flowers the way I do to my parents.
Gosh, I hope so. That is my hope. Gary Vee, I adore you so much. Tell everyone where we could learn more about VeeFriends.
Thank you. Friends, VeeFriends is like truly something that will blow you away. For the dads that are listening, I've got a big one. The biggest feedback in the first 30 days is from fathers sending me emails saying, Gary, I've always followed you. I loved you. You've always been my guy. But with this VeeFriends thing, you've gone to legendary status. You've created something that I can get into with my daughter.
Yeah.
I am collecting these cards and comic books with my daughter. We went to the baseball card store with my daughter, who in a million years used to not want to come with me and my son. Thank you for creating a hobby that I can collect with my daughter. That has been huge. It's VeeFriends.com. Or if anybody wants to text me, it's 212-931-5731, 212-931-5731. Text me the word VeeFriends, VeeFriends. And I'll keep you updated on what we've got going on. It's really, really neat. I'm really proud of it. It's really early. So like watching Pokemon or Marvel being built in your face on the web every day, live social shopping, TikTok shop, and Whatnot.
Whatnot.
Let me
give a shout out to Whatnot real fast.
I want to give a shout out to Whatnot selflessly. Moms, I want you to go to Whatnot, WHATNOT, download it, follow VeeFriends, but I want you to start your own channel. I've got a huge shout out, a huge statement. I believe a lot of people who are trying to become creators and influencers and make millions that way are not going to get it there because they're not good enough. Real talk.
Yeah.
But I think a shocking percentage of those women are actually incredibly capable of crushing it on Whatnot. They may not be good enough at social media content, but they actually have sales DNA.
Oh.
And they should be doing garage sales, like literally stuff in your house on Whatnot. Go to ChatGPT and type in, what is Whatnot? How am I good at it? How do I do a garage sale on Whatnot? Get educated. This is real. It's big.
It's the next thing. I mean, you always have your finger on the pulse of the next big thing, and you think Whatnot is it.
I think live social shopping, TikTok Shop, Whatnot, and all the other competitors that are coming from Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. I believe the QVC-ification of social media is here.
Yeah. It's changed. It meaning social media has changed so much in the last, 5 years since the pandemic. It's
last 5.
Night and day.
The TikTokification, the interest graph versus the following graph, like content coming to you, not you following people. The whole game's different.
Yeah, no, it's a game changer. I'm going to let you go because I don't want you to be late for your next thing. Gary, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow, or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.